Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with various wins for the Superstar 9-hole cup, a mix of the Oasis, the White Cliffs and the Shiruba Springs. Make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button if you do enjoy the content here. Also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that do want to have our 9-hole cup guides for Expert and or Master Division, and obviously we do have 18-hole tournaments as well, and tour guides for Tour 7 and Tour 13. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy through the link that is in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I do suggest to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1.
Alright, so on the drive start we at P3 max line with rock 9, blue ring by the rough line, and then we swap to a poke and a B52 bag. We're gonna play all the top spin, no side spin, and then we're gonna adjust max plus 10 P5. What needs to be said here? I do recommend to play with a power 4 or a power 5 ball. Why? It's because then you will get a slower needle on the OP. If you still try to do what I'm doing here in the video, then obviously you're gonna have a super shaky needle, and obviously the precision helps me to hit perfect. But I wanted to be very vocal about that. If you do hit a great left, you will most likely glitch roll, and then you're going to play rings from min. If we ending up hitting perfect, or even with a great right, at least that was for me, then you're playing the second shot as instructed with a pin check. This is a tough wind, and you can see that we were close with the second bounce by the rough line, but that's kind of what we want to be. So again, swap the P4 or P5 ball to have a much slower needle. A tiki ball is an absolute perfect use here. And the curl, as you could see there, is that I'm having the grid line centered down the triangle, and it's approximately 2.25 ball of left curl. A pin check is what we're gonna do. +4 is going to be our base. The +4 is going to be minus 5% elevation, P5 numbers, and 12% slider. 1.1 backspin. I'm using 2 clicks backspin from 0. Now look at my second bounce. I'm looking to be centered on the fringe with the ball guideline going approximately a little bit more than 1 green square through the hole, but my biggest focus point is the second bounce on the center of the fringe. Now we're going to make an adjustment, as already said. From +4 is 12% slider, minus 5% elevation, P5. Here I'm adding 0.1 as I am at +5, where I had +5 pin check. So we're centering the ball. A perfect ball here will have a very high drop rate, as it's going to bounce on the fairway up towards the pin, coming in with a beautiful speed, dropping dead center for a lovely eagle here on hole number 8. What needs to be said here in the end, as I already said when it comes to the drive video, if you happen to have a longer roll around 410, you're gonna have to play rings from min. What you're doing there is that you're adding 3 backspin and you're moving up to have the ball guideline 1 green square through the hole, and that's why the runner or any other common short iron becomes very helpful, as you then can go from min line easier without swapping clubs, and you can then push the rings up. We're gonna add the rings from min table as well in the guide to give everyone a proper chance.
For hole number 2, the standard way of playing this par 3 is to use the first fairway to bounce the ball up towards the pin. I like to use a ring reference together with the ball guideline as my reference. That helps me loads to be consistent here. 1.5 backspin and 2 left spin. Yellow ring by the rough line, ball guideline through the hole. And then here with this particular wind angle and this particular play, it's an adjustment that is 1:1 plus 1.4. So I'm adjusting 10 rings for 8.6 miles per hour. center the ball and hit perfect, and this will be a good chance. On a par 3 like this, unfortunately, you're going to have to be required to use wind angle tweaks if it is that you want to be consistent in dropping this ball for an hole-in-one. Comes in lovely, dropping with a good speed for the hole-in-one here on hole number 2 of the White Cliff, which is also hole number 2 in the Superstar 9-hole Cup. For hole number 6 here, we are going 6 of the Oasis, but hole number 3 in the Superstar 9-hole Cup. We're gonna use all the top spin and 2 left spin here. The thing here with having a headwind on this very tough par 5, it's either to lay up on the right, but then you can only play for a safe eagle, or you do go aggressive on the left and you can actually go for the albatross. And I obviously prefer to show an aggressive way going for the albatross here in our playthrough. Max overpower, outside wall left curl, and then max top spin to left spin adjustment, max 10. Bounces on the fairway, over to the final fairway, and that's where we're going to want to be now to give ourselves a chance on the second shot. Second shot is going to be with our sniper, and here what we're going to do is to put the blue ring to be by the rough line there. Then I'm moving the camera so I can see the hole from this angle, because I'm going to want to get the ball guideline to come in on the left side of the green, because it slopes down to the right. There is a little funnel there, and what I'm doing here in the end is to have the ball guideline go approximately 2 green squares past the pin, because of the headwind will compress a lot. Adjust 88% slider, plus 25% elevation, P5 numbers, and this is from plus 11. Obviously the adjustment will differ slightly depending on what wind direction you have, but also it will obviously be the spins most likely, and the setup with the ball guideline that's gonna vary slightly depending on what wind direction you have. Comes up the green, falls down, and we are very unlucky not getting it into the hole and have to settle for a 360 on a very tough par 5, which is Oasis hole 6, which is hole number 3 of the Superstar 9-hole Cup. For hole number 4 in Superstar 9-hole Cup, which is White Cliff's hole number 8, we're gonna play over to the fairway island that is on the top right, using 5.5 bar top spin, ball guideline straight down the fairway. Adjust max plus 10. If we do have a tailwind, I would recommend to go on the left hand side more. This to try to put ourselves into a spot where we can play with a long iron or a short iron instead. But when we do have a headwind, to not have to go max overpower and gamble a lot, then this fairway island play is the way of playing. Ball bounces over nicely on the fairway, and we're looking to have that little rollout like you can see there to approximately 350 yards. I would say 340 to 350. Perfect. Now, second shot, we're going to play from absolute min club with our sniper. We still have headwind, so playing with a long iron is going to be difficult in terms of we're going to most likely adjust into max club. 1 right spin and 1 back spin, ball guideline to go just through the hole here. And then in the video, adjusting minimum distance with no elevation. The elevation obviously will differ depending on what wind direction you have, what type of spins you're having, and stuff like that. So that's something to have in mind. I'm just demonstrating what we do have here in the video. Making the adjustment, and then it's all about hitting perfect with our sniper, which is not the easiest, but it's definitely a possibility. So we can see here now we do have a perfect ball, and bounces on the fairway up towards the green, and taking the turn slightly and rolling in on the right side of the hole. And it says birdie. Well, that's because I timed out on the shot before. It is an eagle obviously, and that's what we're looking for here for hole number 8 of the White Cliff, which is hole number 4 for the Superstar 9-hole Cup. Hole number 5 of the Superstar 9-hole Cup, which is also hole number 9 of the Shiruba. Here we are going to try to push the ball as far down the fairway possible. Gonna use our Thor's hammer as it has a lot of topspin. Otherwise, if you do not have the Thor's hammer level 7 or level 8, we do recommend to go with a POC 7 or a POC 8. So here, using a ball with more wind resistance is helpful because it will allow us to avoid pulling into max club every single time, even though we have a low wind here. That's the reason why we're not pulling into max club, but I'm adjusting max plus 10, then I'm pushing up onto max using inner wall left curl and trying to hit. Perfect. Great left here is still fine. I mean, it's a very accurate club, Thor's hammer, and you can see it bounces on the fairway, and we're giving ourselves a lot of room on this fairway to actually hit great balls. But a perfect ball would be giving us to be a little bit closer towards the pin, which would have been helpful, because now we do have some tailwind on the second shot, and then we are going to push hard. And that's what we do in Master, in my opinion, when we do have the chance. It is very, very uncommon that we're playing shots on par 5s, par 4s, or par 3s where we're only playing for the birdie or the eagle. But here we're playing for an albatross, so we're stretching out, trying to visualize where the ball guideline comes in, and then we're going to make an adjustment that is max plus 20. Once that adjustment is done, we're not going to push up, but we're going to use max overpower, so with half a ball of right curl, trying in this case to hit perfect. And with a perfect ball, we know we're going to be around the hole. I'm not going to say we're going to be in the hole, but you can see here now that if we are a little bit lighter on the backspin, would have taken the turn, would have giving ourselves a shot for the pin. But in a worst case scenario, we are ending up with an eagle. And this is a way of, with a tough wind on a tough par 5, where we can somewhat be lucky getting an albatross, but again, we're locking in the eagle. For hole number 6, which is hole number 7 of the Oasis, and so hole 6 of the Superstar 9-hole Cup, using 3 backspin, 3 left, 3.8 backspin and 3 left spin. We're gonna look now to have the ball guideline to the hole, with the inner ring to be bottom of the inner ring to be by the rough line where the rough meets the fairway. Adjustment gonna be 1 to 1 minus 0.1, so 8.8 rings for 8.9 miles per hour. And this is, I mean, it may look scary this, but it's not. The fact is that this is also one of the par 3s in the game that I do despise the most. The rough bump here is by far the best way of attacking the pin because it has a nice funnel. And the funnel there is definitely a helpful way of actually increasing the chances to make an hole-in-one on this par 3. Bounce into the rough, rolls up onto the green, dead center for a lovely hole-in-one. You did notice that we did do some overpower as well. This to compensate for dropping from a higher to a lower point when we adjust down into the water.
So when it comes to the drive, we're going to start with the rock at top of plus 10 with half of blue ring into the rough with rock 9 and then plus 11 for rock 8. Gonna use 1 left spin and 3 top spin, and this is option number 1, has to be said as well. Option number 2 is played more or less identical, just that we're using 3.5 bar top spin instead. Adjust is going to be max plus 10 P3. And once we have adjusted, we're going to go with circle drop overpower. And the reason we're going to do that is that we then not going to have to push up, because I do believe pushing up is much more difficult to generally be consistent at compared to going with just circle drop overpower. Tried it perfect. A great left is danger, I would say, even though there might be room. I would say in general look at it as danger, whereof a great right is going to be safe. So on the second shot, we're going to use 2 right spin, and we're going to use half a bar of top spin always. And once we have added the half a bar of top spin, we're going to look to have the second bounce to be just by the edge of the rough line. Ball guideline to go through the hole, and this is always going to be around +4 or +5. So when we're making the adjustment here now, we're just going to play a 1-to-1 based of situation, which is 1-to-1 plus 0.8. So here we're going 8.6 rings for 7.8 miles per hour. We're not going to do any wind angle tweaks for this play either. Now we're going to center the ball and hit perfect, and this will give us a very solid chance to drop shot. We do have a backup as well as for being a standard bounce up towards the pin. However, though, that bounce up is, in my opinion, very finicky, and it's not something that is easy and requires obviously some decent wind angle tweaks to be solid. But check that one out if this does not interest you. You may be wondering, is great safe? Great right is safe, great left is not safe. You're gonna miss the rough with a great left, but you're still gonna clip the rough with a great right. So a precision ball is definitely recommended, but it's absolutely not a must.
Hole number 7 of Whitecliff, which is hole number 8 in the Superstar 9-hole Cup. I had the pleasure to lend a replay from my friend, and that's the replay we're looking at now. Max backspin, 1.5 right spin. We're playing here from NMT, which is at plus 14 here with the Rocket. You can play with a Thor's Hammer as well, as it has max backspin, but the Rocket is more a general club. Max plus 30 in adjustment allow us to pull only once when it comes to our Rocket. Now, center the ball. I'm gonna do our very best here to hit perfect. And the thing is with this par 3 is that this is a very difficult par 3 to be even remotely close to consistent with. So the reason you will see a lot of people playing a backspin shot here is because going long could risk getting you a long putt, and that's not something really you do want to do. But at the same time, I mean, there is definitely different ways of attacking this par 3s, but it's all about what can give you the safest way of a birdie, but at the same time a good chance for an hole-in-one, because we don't want to take an unnecessary risk on a very tricky and inconsistent par 3 without knowing that we're at least going to stay for the birdie if we're making a mistake. For hole number 9 of the Superstar 9-hole Cup, but also hole number 3 of the Chiruba Springs, we are going to do an NMT where we play with 2 left spin and some top spin. The idea here is to have the ball guideline to settle to be as close to the rough line on the right without obviously putting ourselves into the risk of getting into the max plus 5 is what I'm adjusting for this particular wind angle. The elevation can obviously differ depending on what wind direction you have and what type of setup you decide to play. Bounce on the fairway, you can see we're over here on the other fairway, and again, the closer we are to the rough on the right, the better it's going to be for the second shot. Having wind left to right of tee means that we're going to have tailwind on the second shot. So therefore, we are going to try to just get this ball to be as close to the green possible. And the thing is here with this type of shot is that you can obviously play it for the green, but the issue you will have with that is that you do have rough and the sand on the left that could put you in a very tough spot, putting yourself in a situation where you might have to shoot from the rough or sand to lock in the eagle, because that's the only thing we're looking for here. Getting an albatross on this hole, I don't think there's many in the game that has ever done that, and most of those doing or the few of them that has done that with a lot of luck. Adjust max plus 10. I'm using some OP to compensate and some left curl as well to push my to push myself as close to the green possible. Now, I am a little bit conservative with my way of playing here. I could have gone with max OP with a slow needle, put myself close to the green, have a much shorter wedge. But the wedge here is going to be fairly simple to manage. And my recommendation here is to put ourselves in a way of not using any of the glitch spots on the green. It is very bright, so it's very hard sometimes to actually know if you're in a glitch spot or not. But what I do like to use is to use the fringe as my first bounce point, or just the fringe and just before the fringe as my first bounce spot. That's the most consistent spots here if you're shooting a wedge like this from distance. 10% elevation is what we're using, and then it's the EB School that we are using together with that. So it's a special way of doing EB School, as we're doing that with somewhat with half topspin version. So it's just to do the EB School, use the topspin that you see in the video, 10% elevation, perfect ball it is, and you get yourself an eagle, which is the only thing we are looking for here. So pray for some good wind on your second shot, so you don't have to deal with shooting into with a max OP ball and having a short iron or something like that from distance. That will be very difficult if they give us that wind. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division with Various Wind, a playthrough for you to use throughout the tournament to get some influence and ideas on how to attack the holes in the Superstar 9-hole cup. Make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen and get immediate access to our ultimate tournament guides for the Superstar 9-hole cup and the 18-hole tournaments as well. We do offer guides for Pro, Expert, and Master, and tour guides for Tour 7 up to Tour 13. Once again, a massive good luck in your Golf Clash game.